Welcome to the Dead Pair Podcast, energized by KL Ammo Gameboy US, with your hosts, Jason Rambo and Sean Alley. Coming in hot with the 411 on all things sporting clays. Your go-to source for information, education, and entertainment, from the new shooter to the seasoned competitor.
Oh, I'm a junkie, man.
I want to play with the buttons.
He just likes to throw people under the bus. You're not used to that yet. That's part of the show.
Does your brain hear what your mouth is saying?
Hey, I'm going to call Dave when the podcast is over and ask him what half the words are.
Let's rapid fire. Let's do the hot seat. Let's get her done.
Often imitated, but never duplicated. And now, it's showtime!
What's up, my large mammal friend?
We're back.
Yes, we are. And I'm fresh out of Georgia.
Yeah, how was that trip?
The trip took too long.
It's a long drive.
Yes. But wow, what an event. Hey, before I get into that, I have something very, very interesting for our listeners. And this is beneficial to anyone that suffers from allergies. So I was on the way down there, and I was talking to Dominic Bethel, and he's like, I hope you brought your allergy medicine. And, you know, Sean, you had recommended, hey, Claritin.
Yep.
I had never battled allergies before up until here just a couple of years ago. So I got down there, and they call it the oak pollen. It's off of the oak trees down there, which we don't experience up here.
I've seen videos. It looks like yellow snow coming off the trees.
Yeah, I mean, your gun's covered in 3 or 4 stations, you know. But anyway, my eyes were burning, watering, puffy, irritated, red, bloodshot the whole time I was there. Yes, that's my excuse for my scores. So
no comment.
But I found something out. I was having a conversation with Eric Roden from Bear Pelt, and he experienced the same problems when he was in Florida. Went to an eye doctor, and oh my gosh, you have this, you have that, you have this, you have that. And he started talking to I believe he said the medical officer there at the firehouse, and turns out all of this allergy medicine messes with your central nervous system, which affects your vision. So I had a long conversation with someone that's well known. He's a doctor. He's both a neurosurgeon and an optometrist. Okay. Wow. He works with somebody that we know.
Okay.
So I'm going to say, not allowed to say any names. And yes, this information is 100% correct. So, okay, how do you get relief and not screw up your eyes for shooting, which, oh boy, did it ever mess me up. Zyrtec, if you're going to be out of town, Zyrtec is something you can use that will not mess with your central nervous system and not affect your vision. As far as being at home, local honey. Not honey you go and buy at Walmart, local honey.
I've heard that because something about the pollen the bees use in your local area helps you to fight that off or whatever.
Exactly. So it's just like my sister is she is highly allergic to poison ivy. But they make a poison ivy pill that you can take that gives your body very small doses of it, and your immune system builds up an immunity to it.
So you can handle it better.
Right, and it's the same thing with local honey. A spoonful of honey every day. Well, I mean, I'm sure it depends on your size, how much you would take. Please, folks, consult your doctor, okay? Because I'm learning all of this, and if you take what I say, it's out of ignorance. I'm just now figuring this out. But, you know, David was telling me he takes a spoonful of local honey in his coffee or tea or whatever every morning. And your body builds up that immunity, and then your allergies aren't as bad. You don't need that medicine to get that relief anymore.
Gotcha.
So guess what Jason's going to stock up on? A couple jars of local honey.
Yep.
So,
but at least have some Zyrtec on backup, right?
Yeah, because when you go out of town, your local honey doesn't work.
Yeah, because it's a whole different set of pollen.
Right, exactly. So, I thought that was very interesting, and I wanted to share it with our listeners because I'm sure somebody out there is suffering from the same problems I did this weekend.
Oh, has to be.
So, moving on to the Trident Cup, wow. Hats off to Dominic Bethel and the entire staff down there at Meadows. They put on an awesome event. Eric Dorsey did a very, very good job of humbling us with his targets.
And about how many shooters were down there for that event?
You know, that's a good question. I need to ask Dominic what the final tally was. I want to say it was just it hovered somewhere around 200, maybe slightly over.
Yeah.
But you know how we brag about we've said it a million times on the show about the night shoot, the Cardinal, and it's because of the atmosphere. It's because everybody hangs around after the shoot. Mm-hmm. That's what we experienced down there at the Trident.
Cool.
The food was outstanding. He had a fried seafood dinner on Saturday night that was over the top. Dominic broke open his moldy wallet and bought 8-10 cases of beer for the adults.
Nice.
So it was a really good time. Had a lot of fun. Regardless of how everybody was shooting, I saw smiles all around. Had a lot of fans come up to us. I shouldn't say fans. We're not superstar. Listeners came up to us and gave us a lot of nice compliments. And I probably had to answer 10 or 15 times where the big man was and why you weren't down there.
I didn't get to make it because of my work schedule, unfortunately.
But, it was a ton of fun. And I highly recommend this shoot to anyone. If you get a chance to go next year, it's well worth it. The whole staff down there, they really busted their butts, and their hard work showed. It really did.
I'll have to definitely put it on my bucket list for a future shoot. So
that club is really cool. I mean, the whole landscape and the backdrops to everything was really, really neat. We shot FETASC, the Trident Cup, and, of course, AFS, Game Boy Qualifier. And that was all three of them were a challenge. But, Dominic told us on the podcast that those are going to be some big boy targets. That's what Trident Cup is known for.
But everything ran smoothly and everything went like a Swiss watch? Okay.
Absolutely. And hats off to Kevin DeMichael. He won the Game Boy jacket. He gets to keep that for a year.
That's all that.
So, and one little quick plug, a little personal plug. I want to give a big shout out to Malcolm and Melanie Parker. They invited me for dinner on Friday night, and I ate with them. And I'm going to tell you what right now, Guy Fieri would have his hands full with Miss Melanie's cooking. Let me tell you now.
Well, she's a Southern gal, so they've been known to carry their own.
Oh, my gosh, that girl can cook.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
Mr. Malcolm has lost 75 pounds.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Really?
And the reason why this is relevant to bring up on a podcast is here we go with gun fit. He was having some gun fit issues. So, if you're one of these people that buckled down and did a great job like Mr. Malcolm and, you've lost some weight and you got to get your gun fit again.
Yeah, we'll definitely change some things.
But, so hey, moving on to the show. Tonight, we're talking Rhino Chokes. We're going to have Jody Johnson, Scott Dixon on, and Kurt Vaughn from Vaughn Precision.
Looking forward to him.
Yeah, anybody that's a big YouTube person knows who Kurt Vaughn is from Vaughn Industries Vaughn Precision. And I'm interested to do this little roundtable here. So
cool.
Let's get on to our guests.
Let's do it.
All right. On several phone lines with us, we have Scott and Matt Dixon, Kurt Vaughn with Vaughn Precision, and Jody Johnson with Rhino Chokes. What's up, fellas?
How y'all doing? How's it going?
Hey there.
We're all here, and we're happy to have you here, guys. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here.
Trust me, it's our pleasure. Kurt, I kind of want to start with you, if you don't mind. You have the YouTube channel Vaughn Precision, and you were doing a lot of rifle stuff, and then lo and behold, you found this sporting clays game, and oh boy, are you ever into it deep now. Tell us the story on that, how you found the podcast and why it made you make the decisions that you have.
So let me go back just a little bit because I was in a pretty bad wreck about 3 years ago, and I used to shoot a lot of PRS. I do a lot of gun builds, all kinds of stuff, and I was really into that with my son. And since then, I can't get up and down off the ground like I used to. But my son and I have always really been into shooting, so we thought, well, we can go out and shoot some trap and skeet. And then I thought, man, I should get better at this. And so I started searching on YouTube, and I came across your guys' podcast, the Dead Pair podcast. I'm like, oh, man. And then the more I listened, the more and more I got into it. And then now I am hooked. I am so hooked.
It's a slippery slope, isn't it?
So
it's terrible.
So for people that don't know, you have like 26,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel?
I think I just crossed 28 just this last week.
Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Wow, that's impressive. So you started in your shooting journey, and lo and behold, you started using some of the products that we always flap our gums about on here. What's that been like for you?
It's been a game changer. One of the things, I was always looking for a shooting vest, and I've got several. I've won a couple at Ducks Unlimited contests and things like that. But I've also purchased some, but they never quite fit right. They were always, digging into my shoulders and different things. And so, listening to your podcast, Bear Pelts, and I'm like, oh man, look at that! I looked them up, pretty cool. Sure enough, talking with those folks, I get a couple of vests for me and the kid, and man, in fact, I literally just yesterday, I got another vest with Rhino Chokes on there. It's
awesome,
and they fit fantastic. And then, of course, with you guys and your podcast and Rhino Chokes, got my hands on some Rhino Chokes, and they pattern phenomenal. I'm not turning back. They're great. They're great chokes.
Awesome.
We're hooked.
Well, glad to hear you're really enjoying them. Anything else you're using that you found on the podcast?
Yeah. So, just listening to all the great guests you guys have on there with, the pros, right? I am no pro, but listening to them and how their shooting styles, how they practice, and Don Grant, the meditation, I thought that was maybe a little bit hokey, but I downloaded a couple of her episodes there and listened to them, and I would practice meditating, and sure enough, the scores go up and the scores go up, and use the good chokes and the scores go up. And so the whole thing just kind of builds on top of each other. The whole thing, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's awesome.
That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yep. That's our whole intention why we started this whole thing. So that's great to hear that somebody's getting the benefit out of it.
No, it's been great, and it's been a learning curve, obviously, but it's not just products. Like I said, it's meditation, it's all that stuff. It's exercise, it's diet, it's all kinds of stuff. But if you start combining all that stuff together, you're like, wow, hey, I'm shooting 20 points higher than I used to be.
Yeah,
nice.
Well, Jody, we're going to come back to you here, Kurt, but Jody, I want to switch to you for a second. You're with the marketing side of Rhino Chokes. What have you seen? Have you seen an increase, be it because of the podcast or, something wacky with the economy? How you guys been doing?
We've seen a phenomenal increase in the industry. I think people through the pandemic were just ready to get out even more so than they'd been at the house too much, and they were ready to get out. But we were at a perfect time, because during that time we had just transitioned into a new brand and a new logo, and we had some new products come out. Matt developed the new Elite series, and him and Corey had worked really hard on that. And we just kind of evolved in right at the right time when people were really ready to go. And man, I'm going to tell you what, as soon as they lifted all the restrictions and let these kids and the kids' parents, which they're the biggest kids of the whole bunch, everybody got to get out and get to start shooting again, and tournaments started happening. And I mean, we're hitting the road again, and we've got the big rig back out on the road. And I mean, it's great to see everybody's faces, and everybody's ready to get after it and try all these new great products that are out there. There's kind of a lot of things. I kind of listen to a lot of music, country music specifically, and they wrote a lot of songs, and a lot of great songs were written during the time that we were all shut down. And so a lot of good things were happening after we got through with this, and shooting is one of them, and all the events that everybody's having. It's really blowing our mind. It's hard for us to even figure out how to get everywhere that we need to get. We're dividing and conquering and heading all over the place and trying to represent Rhino and do a good job at it and help the youth. That's the main thing, is we just want to get out there and help these young kids, the future of our industry, show them how to get a good gun fit, get them in a good choke, and get them on those pattern boards. And I'll tell you, Kurt, I really appreciate all the emphasis you put on that, because that's a real important part of what we do. And it's just been exciting, man. It's been growing, and we're jacked up about it.
That's awesome. Well, Scott, what about you? I mean, you're in the rig doing the barrel porting all the time. Have you guys seen a lot more port work come through lately?
It's been crazy. It's been barrel porting. It's been elite choke tubes. It's been gun fits. Everything. It's amazing how the company that we purchased 4 years ago now, how it is just taken off for us. Like Jody said, we did the rebranding, a lot of stuff. It's all starting to fruition for us.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk a little bit about moving forward. Can Rhino let us know what's going on? Is there anything new coming down the pipe that you guys can hint on, or not really?
We have a lot of things in the works. Nothing that we're ready to put to market yet, but hoping that that's real soon.
Well, that's good. I mean, we're going to be standing here on standby, ready for you when you are ready to make those announcements.
Yeah. As far as the elite chokes go, I would say, and Jody, I'm kind of looking for you to back me up on this from a marketing standpoint. I would say the elite chokes have been a home run.
Oh, no doubt. It's, Matt and Corey got that 17 out there in the middle of that, and then they mixed it in with, the 7 was already existing. And then, we did find out that size does make a difference in these chokes. And the great thing about it is that we didn't really have to do a whole lot of, homework. We just started getting the product out there and started getting people on the pattern boards. And I mean, immediately when the 17 started taking off in the trap world, it was with the kids. It's just been crazy, and we've been trying to. Matt can't get out of the shop. He's back there making as many sets as he can right now. We just keep on him and on him, and that, heck, what could you ask for? That's the best thing that could be going right now.
Well, I'm guilty of not changing chokes. Sean and I have been rolling the 17s in both barrels, and I just, please, for the love of God, do not go look at my scores. I just got back from the Trident Cup, and between the FITAS, the Trident, and all the AFS, I left 17s in both barrels. And when I did my job, I'm going to tell you right now, those chokes did their job. And I shot everything from 20 yards all the way out. They had an 81-yard springing teal for the X-Bird on the green course of AFS. And as long as I did my work, it just hammered the targets. So
I don't know. I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, I don't change. I probably should have put a 22 in for that X-Bird. And unless it's like a little stupid close 10-yard rabbit or something, I'll put a 7 in the bottom. But I don't change. They work so good for me. But it's nice to know that I've got the 7 and the 22 if I do need it,
And that's been the whole idea behind it. Matt was secretly back there in the back. I think him and Scott and Corey and of course myself. But, we were just stepping up into these cages and watching these kids. And, they were just like trying to figure out, oh, my God, which choke do I use? Which one do I do? And then they looked at their parents, and their parents might not be paying exactly the right amount of attention to them at that time. And somebody gets upset. And what it boils down to is that is something that you don't need when you're at the box or you're getting ready to shoot, is you don't need anything that causes a distraction. You need to be able to have the confidence in the choke that you step up to the plate with, and you can knock down anything that you want. And you can put the rest of the chokes in the bag. You can take 3 with you and go win.
Well, and speaking of that, Kurt, I know you had said in your recent video, the course that you shoot at regularly, the targets are a little closer, and you really leaned on that 7,000s choke.
Yeah. So we did, in fact, the last 2 we shot, I put my son, Cody, he shoots a 828U Benelli, and we put both 7s in his gun. Most of our clays aren't much beyond about 30 yards. I would say that would be an average. And man, he was just smoking them. Now, occasionally you do get a longer bird, and he could change, one barrel out to the 17. But up here, I'm in the Northwest. And so a lot of our ranges we have a lot of timber and stuff. And so we don't have the ranges like some of the other places, but man, they're just hammers. They just work perfect.
Gotcha. Hey, Kurt, I was going to ask you too. Now, do you guys shoot a specific load and ammo all the time, or are you constantly switching shells because of, limited availability and so forth?
I'm probably like everybody else in America right now. I shoot what I can get my hands on.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, and my point to that question was, do you see any major difference with the Rhino Chokes? I mean, do you see that, are you noticing big improvements or undervaluations with
the pattern
and, the shot size and stuff, or different brands, or is everything pretty consistent?
So we're shooting some like Federal Top Gun 1 1/8 ounce. Well, everything we shoot is 1 1/8 ounce if we can get our hands on it.
Mm-hmm.
Winchester White Box. I do occasionally shoot some Remington STS, things like that. But most of it is just cheap, affordable ammo because it's all we can find currently.
Sure.
And when we take it out and shoot the pattern plate, I really don't see that much of a difference between ammo with those chokes, where I've run some other chokes in the past, and I would find more gaps. In fact, we'll have a video coming out on that here shortly with just shooting different stuff and showing that on video. But no, we're shooting just, the average, stuff you can find at the store when you can find it.
Sure. I mean, and that's very understandable because everybody's faced with that challenge right now. If you're out there shopping for ammo, it's like you have to grab whatever is available.
Absolutely.
But, Sean, one of the important things that Kurt brought out there is that I guess 90% of the people we visit with and talk with, they just kind of look at you like a deer in the headlight type deal when you ask them, have you been on the pattern board? Because believe it or not, just because it's a shotgun, they shoot differently with a different load and a different choke in them. So Get on your pattern board and know where your shotgun's shooting.
Absolutely.
That's good advice.
So the other big question for you, Kurt, is does that Benelli and that new 400, or they have the Rhino porting in them?
No, they do not. Not currently. Wink, wink.
Well, listen, I know a guy or two over there at Rhino. He might be able to help you out. So, but no, I'll let Scott speak with this. Scott, I know that it does help the automatics, but it's not. Am I right in saying it's not as necessary as maybe like his son's Benelli over under?
I wouldn't say that it's more beneficial in the automatic versus the semi-automatic versus the over and unders.
Good thing Corey's not on.
Yeah, that's true.
The biggest thing that we see with the barrel porting is the transition.
Yeah.
From one shot to the next. So, it's that advantage probably is the most. It's a felt recoil. It's not actual measured recoil. It's a lot softer on your cheek. People that get bruising on their cheek, it's really beneficial to do it for that.
Right. But it's that muzzle rise.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I was recently down at Trident Cup, and the subject came up of barrel porting, and everybody got quiet for a second, and I said, yeah, my barrels are Rhino ported, and I can tell you right now, I'm not going to mention their names, but 3 very well-known shooters in the industry spoke up and said that's the absolute best porting you can get. And they're not sponsored Rhino shooters either. So for them to say that in this crowd of people, that told me right there that there's no doubt about it. It's the best barrel porting you can get in the industry.
That's one of the things I tell people. I said, look at the podium. Okay. Your top shooters out there are all shooting a Rhino ported barrel.
Well, Corey made me a believer. He sent me those videos, and with his permission, I'll release those. But he sent me those videos of the before and after porting, and I had mine done, and then of course the rest is history. Sean had his done, and and I think you said you guys were swamped at nationals with people that were wanting to get their barrels ported.
138 barrels.
Wow, is that what you ended up doing? That's incredible.
Yeah, you guys were working like sun up to sundown every day is what I was seeing. I mean, I really think I'm a true believer now. I wasn't sure. Jason had his gun done before mine, And then we did the whole segment about, filming my barrels getting done down there at the Nationals last year and recording, pre-porting and then after they were ported. And obviously on the video, it's a noticeable difference as far as the muzzle jump goes, especially with the white golds we shoot, because they're 1,300 feet per second and they're pretty snappy. And I think the hotter loads, you definitely notice it more on the barrel porting.
But the big testament came on the last day at the Nationals when somebody, not me, but somebody else in this room, lost our last 4 boxes of white golds off the back of the golf cart.
Yep.
And we had to borrow some, I believe they were white Rhino Fiocchi, 1 1/8 1350s.
Yeah, they were whammy shells.
These are shoulder dislocators, okay?
Yep.
And we put them in our gun, and my gun did not feel any different with an 1 1/8 1350 than it did with a 1 ounce 1300.
Yep, he ain't lying.
And that right there. It was, if there was any question up until that point, that right there just sold the whole thing.
Yep, definitely.
So, Kurt.
So I'm guessing whoever loaned you those shells is not your friend anymore, right?
No, actually, he went and got his Zoli barrels ported that same day. I'm not lying.
That's no exaggeration. So
yeah,
I went over to grab some water because it was kind of hot that day, and somewhere between our station where we were waiting, the squads were backed up, and it was about 100 yards over to the water tent. So I got some bottles of water, and I was hustling back. Somehow we had our shells on the very bottom shelf of the golf cart. They must have bounced out. And when we got up to shoot, I went back to look for them, and apparently somebody picked them up, and obviously they didn't have a name tag on them. So whatever, they got some free white gold ammo. So whoever's out there that got those, I hope you appreciated them, enjoyed them. But yeah, so luckily he had enough of those rhinos, the Fiocchi rhinos. But again, 1350 1 1/8, and I was like, oh man, these are going to hurt for the rest of the match. But no problem whatsoever with those big shells.
So that leads to Kurt. What are you waiting on?
Well,
okay, that sounds like Corey.
No pressure, Kurt.
I'll tell you a little secret here, and luckily this will come out after hopefully this all goes down. But my wife broke her wrist several years ago, and she's got 13 pins and plates and screws in her wrist, so her wrist doesn't bend, and she's very uncomfortable shooting. She loves to shoot, so I'm actually working with Boyd's right now for a thumb through stock for her. She shoots a Remington 1187, and I plan on pulling the barrel off and having it ported, installing the new stock and forend.
There you go.
And I think I'm going to send you guys the barrel from my son's 828 also to have those ported. Also a surprise for him. So my Beretta A400, I'm really on the fence on. I also shoot an 828U and a Benelli M2. But the A400 is, it's just such a pussycat. I just don't know about that one. Maybe, maybe not, but definitely the 2 I'm going to send down to you guys, Scott and Jody, to have those ported.
Well, you have, you have the. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. You have the kickoff system on the A400, right?
Yes, I do.
See, now if you would have had, and I don't know the competition model or what the difference is, but it does not have the kickoff in the stock. I think. I think that would make even more of a difference. But what Scott. To Scott's point, what he's saying is it's not so much the recoil, is the rise, the muzzle rise in between shots. The muzzle rise goes away. Yeah, the muzzle rise goes away, and it makes a huge difference, especially if it's like a true pair of trap shots or a 2 pair of teals or something where you got to get off of one and on the other one very quickly. You're going to notice the biggest difference there.
It is. I completely agree. That it's no different with my experience with rifles and muzzle brakes and things like that. It's not necessarily the felt recoil, but it's the muzzle jump. On a rifle, it's also the muzzle flip or the twist because it always jumps off to one side.
Right.
But with a shotgun, well, for my wife in particular, when the gun goes off. She has to control that recoil. And so control is, both hands pulling that thing back down. And that is, I believe, where some of the uncomfortableness comes from is the control, not always the recoil. I mean, obviously recoil is probably part of it, but so I figure, well, I think I'll get her a set of chokes for the Remington, the Rhino chokes for the Remington, send the barrel off, have you guys port that, and put the new stock on there. Again, she loves to shoot, so I'm really hoping that this really will allow her to shoot more competitively. 100 rounds, that's a lot of rounds when you're not comfortable.
Right.
So I'm going to do everything I can to. I had her shoot different guns, all kinds of different guns, but it's the position of the wrist and the recoil and the muzzle flip and all that stuff. It's a combination of things. So I'm really hoping to try to dial that in the best I can so that she can be more competitive and shoot way more often. And also with the 828. I can see it when my son Cody, when he's out there shooting, I can see the muzzle flip, and if we can push that back down, there's no doubt that he'll be more accurate.
Yeah,
we've done some porting. We've got a lady who is shooting Paralympic, who's got some issues with her left arm. So when we ported that, she was able to control that a lot better. We've done some porting work for some vets who have had some issues in the military, disabled. So we've done a lot of stuff like that, and it's allowed them to get back into shooting because they don't have the use of that left arm or that left hand, and the gun just simply lays there.
Right.
It's amazing.
I watched the video of the porting, of the difference the porting made, watching, Jason and Sean there, just, it was incredible. And so I was never a big believer in it, but after watching that and also talking to other people who shot them with ported barrels and stuff, I'm like, yeah, okay, there's definitely something to this. There's actually more to it than I thought.
Gotcha. Well, if I may, I want to switch gears here for a second. And Scott or Jody, whichever one of you guys want to field this question. So obviously we've been talking about sporting clays and competition guns and all that stuff, but hey, you guys carry a whole line of hunting stuff. How did hunting season treat you last year?
You know what? I'm gonna defer that one over to Kurt Vaughn right there and let him tell you a story.
Okay, all right, that sounds like a plan.
Oh, you're killing me, guys. Okay, so I got the Rhino turkey choke. I put that in my Benelli M2. I was really, really hoping to get this on video for my channel, but it was so foggy. The weather was terrible. Anyways, depredation tag, Eastern Washington. They have a turkey problem there. So I had to go over there for work, and we get up there in the high country, and unfortunately, just due to timing, I didn't have time to pattern the gun, which is not something I normally do. I always pattern my guns, but it was what it was. So 53 yards, Winchester Longbeard, number 6 shot. And I just held the bead on, pulled the trigger, and I got a dead turkey at 53 yards.
Wow.
That's impressive.
So that was impressive. And a friend of mine who was hunting with me, we actually had 2 birds in our sight, and we did the whole countdown thing. All right, you ready, Charlie? You ready? 3, 2, 1, boom. My bird died. His blue bird flew away. So, just saying.
And he wasn't using Rhino chokes.
He was not. I won't say the choke he was using, but he was not using a Rhino choke. My bird was plenty of good kill shots, and it flew away.
Well, hopefully you directed him to the website and say, hey, looky here, this is where you can get one of your own. So.
Yeah, right.
Yes, in fact, he shoots a CZ 1012, and Scott, I had sent you a choke from the factory choke from his CZ. So you guys have that. So, I know CZ is not a super popular gun, but they're actually not a bad gun for the price. So, hopefully, wink, wink, if you guys come out with some of those, there's a lot of people that have some CZs.
We did complete that pattern, and it will be on its way to you shortly.
Oh, nice. Well, okay. Well, somebody will be happy.
Heck yeah. Another happy Rhino user. There you go.
You know, that's something that's something that's never talked about is turnaround time. And I can tell you right now, everything I've dealt with sending pieces, parts out and getting them back takes forever. But when I sent my barrels to Rhino, I had them back within 5 days. I mean, that's impressive. I mean, you got to think about the time it took to ship it down there. They got it, they ported it, and then shipped it back to me. From the time it left my house to the time I got it back was 5 days. I sent them out on a Monday, and I had them back on Friday.
That's pretty incredible.
So,
yeah, we have an appointment system. So if you call here to the office and speak with Amber and set up an appointment for your barrel porting or any gun work, we'll have that barrel for no more than 5 days, as long as you go through the appointment system.
That's awesome, especially in this industry.
And even just to, I guess just say this out loud, I ordered just what was it, last week, I think, week before, I ordered a light modified Gen 2 choke for my Beretta. And I had it in days. I mean, you guys were spot on. And I do appreciate that as a customer. I appreciate that, because I just got on the website and I'm like, I think I need a light mod for the Beretta. And so I just ordered it, and sure enough, there it is. I'm like, nice. That's perfect. I like that.
And that's one of the reasons. There are several reasons, but that's one of the reasons why we enjoy working with Rhino so much, because as with all of our sponsors of the show, it's not just the product, it's also the people and the customer service behind the product.
Exactly.
And Rhino was spot on with that. They were, I mean, and I say this all the time, like I think I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. If the podcast stopped tomorrow, Sean and I will still buy and use the products of the sponsor of the show because we believe in them.
Yep.
And I can't get, and I even had people walking up to me this past weekend at Trident. Hey man, do you really believe in those? Or do you really believe in those, that Odo Pro hearing protection? Do you really love your barrel port? I mean, it's like, guys, I'm not just, this isn't some scripted reality TV bull crap that's not real. This is real. This is me. This is Sean.
Yeah, we're just a couple working guys, man. I mean,
we mean what we say on here,
Yep.
So, but, and I told the two gentlemen that walked up to me, I'm like, absolutely, 100%, I stand behind this product, so.
Jason, you make a great point, because like even on my YouTube channel, if I get emails literally every day from companies who want me to promote something, this or that. I'm like, yeah, fine, send it to me. I'll test it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I will never show it on my video. I'll never even talk about the brand. But the ones that do work, I do promote, because they are tried and true. I've field tested them. They're good, and I don't feel bad recommending them, because they are good products. The customer service is great, and that's not just with Rhino. That's with any company who really stands behind their product and does good things. And Rhino is certainly one of them.
Yeah.
So thanks to Scott and Jody, because you guys really you guys make great stuff, and I do appreciate that as a shooter, and I know my audience appreciates that too.
And the one that's being quiet back there, Matt, he's hiding from the microphone, but he's a big part of this too. I mean, he, trust me, Sean and I saw him down there at Nationals. He was working just as hard as Scott and Jody were, and I mean, it's really cool, because when you see the Rhino rig at a shoot and you go up to them and you see how busy they are, but they still have time to shake your hand and talk to you. What can I do to help you?
It's A1 customer service.
Absolutely.
Guys, we appreciate all the compliments, but I mean, it doesn't go without saying, we've had our share of problems just with the growing pains that we've been going through for the last 3 or 4 years. And, we've had some, oh man, I hate to say it, unsatisfied customers or dissatisfied, but if anybody gives us a chance, we will get it taken care of, and we will guarantee you that you'll walk away a happy customer. And it's just, none of us manufacturers or people in business out here intend to hurt, harm, or have anything break. And we're just out here making an American-made product here in America. trying to do the best we can and run our businesses the best we can. We do have problems. All of us do. But, you know, we do our absolute best to stop. Me and Scott, Amber, it doesn't matter, Matt, Megan, whoever's involved with Rhino. If you've got a problem, pick up the phone, be respectful and let us know what the problem is, and we'll get it worked out. But I'm going to tell you something, guys. We're experiencing a lot of new shotguns on the marketplace these days, and these barrels are tough to match up with in threads, and you know, it's a challenge for us every day. But going back to what we're talking about from the marketing perspective and taking care of business, if you got a problem, we're going to take care of it. Pick up the phone, call Scott, call Jody, call Matt, whoever, and we will handle it for you, and we'll make sure that you're happy. If you're not, we'll get you refunded, and we'll give you a handshake and tell you we hope to see you soon.
That's awesome.
No, that couldn't have been better said. And I mean, Jody, I'm going to just bounce on what you said, because as another business owner, that's exactly what I believe in. I mean, we make mistakes. Things happen, things beyond our control, things that get overlooked, but give us a chance to make it right. And I think that's exactly what you were saying there. And I can only respect companies that do that. It's the ones that, you know, you call, you leave messages, you don't get a return call, or, oh yeah, Bob's on vacation, he'll call you next week. And that just frustrates people. But when people honestly want to help a person or a customer with a problem, that speaks volumes about the type of company you're dealing with.
Yes, absolutely.
So, there's none of us out here trying to intentionally do anything, but you know, things happen. And so you know, we just want to make sure that it really upsets me that when I see at youth events and I see a parent that's supposed to be setting an example and something goes wrong and it's unpreventable. It just happened. And, you know, something went wrong, whether it was a gun or choke or whatever, it doesn't matter. And then, you know, they walk out into the crowd and tell everybody that, you know, I wouldn't do anything with this vendor or this person. And not just us, it's everybody. It's all of our competition and all of our people in the industry. That doesn't do anything good for the industry, folks. We've got to figure out, sit down, understand what the problem is. Let's get it resolved, and let's all get happy and move on down the road.
Right.
Well said.
Well, you know, my favorite saying is if people didn't make mistakes, pencils wouldn't come with erasers, right? So, you know, but, you know, we're all human, okay? And things happen. You know, things sometimes are out of our control, but they happen. And when somebody's willing to make it right and, you know, work with you on the problem, that I think you owe it the benefit of the doubt, you know?
Yep.
But I could tell you right now, what you're telling me, Jody, or what you're telling all the listeners, I've never heard anything negative ever about Rhino. So it must be an isolated situation that you're referring to, because I've never heard anything.
And, you know, and
positive.
we have situations, and everybody does. It doesn't matter. But the simple fact is that if you'll come in and sit down, and it doesn't matter whether it's with us or our competition or somebody else, it doesn't matter what it doesn't even have to be related to what we're doing. If you got a problem, if you'll sit down and be reasonable about it, everything can be worked out. And so I kind of got off track there, but that was kind of my sermon for the day. But, you know, the main thing is we're here in America, and we're Americans. We're making it in America. So let's support it.
I understand what you're getting at, Jody, because, you know, we've had people that have complained about this podcast, and I honestly believe that those same people, if I gave them a gold brick, they'd bitch about the weight. Okay. So, you know, I'm serious. I mean, you can't please everyone. You just can't. You try your best to.
Nope.
But you can't please everyone. So I get it.
You're right. Great job.
No, if I can chime in here real quick and say something,
please.
You know, I was talking to Jody when I sent the choke tube down from the CZ shotgun, and Jody contacted me and he's like, "Hey, can you measure the bore diameter of the shotgun?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I can do that." But he wanted to make absolutely sure that just because the choke has one measurement doesn't mean that's what the bore measurement is, right? So
right.
He really he's like, you know, hey, let's just make sure. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I measured it, and I think it was like 0.729 to 0.730. And so I shot those measurements back to him. He's like, okay, cool. But it was that extra step. Hey, can you just confirm this? Let's make sure that when we machine this, that it's going to match. And that says a lot to me.
Well, that means that's somebody that's been there, done that, and that's why they're asking those additional questions.
Yeah.
You know, that speaks
exactly.
That speaks of experience right there.
Right.
Well, guys,
that's that guy back there on the other phone, not saying anything, cracking the whip.
well, Jody, somebody got to keep you in line, brother. I'm sorry.
No doubt.
And I promise not to give out Jody's phone number, but I can text him on a Saturday or a Sunday, and he still responds to me. But I promise not to give out your phone number, otherwise you'll be busy 7 days a week.
Hey, I advertise 24/7, so bring it.
Well, guys, this has been awesome. I think we've got some good information out to people. You know, Kurt, your testimonials have been awesome, and we greatly appreciate it. And you've said some really kind words about us on your YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate that as well. We'll go around the horn here. Jody, any closing thoughts?
Well, I'd just like to thank all of y'all, Kurt, Sean, and Jason, for what y'all have done for Rhino Chokes and the Dixon family. I mean, we just love you and appreciate all the support, and whatever we can do to any given time, give us a call. We're here to help. We want to promote the industry. We want kids to get out and shoot. We want families to stay together and play together. Let's all go have fun.
Absolutely. What about you, Kurt? Any closing thoughts?
You know, I think that Rhino Chokes, you guys have done amazing work. The chokes that I've got in my hands have been shooting amazing. Whether it's the Gen 2, the Elite, the Hunter series, they're awesome. I intend to get many more. In fact, I just texted Jody the other day and said, I'm sold. These are my chokes. For as long as you guys keep making them, these are my chokes. My son feels the same way. And I think, you know, you guys said it right. You know, just get out, have some fun. Good American companies, a lot of just good people, good times, good people. I appreciate you guys having me on the podcast. It's been phenomenal. And you know, it's kind of a weird thing. You know, we kind of met in a weird way, but man, it's been great. I love texting you guys and talking to you guys. And I think you guys y'all do great. All of you.
Well,
so
feelings
I appreciate
mutual.
that. So
feelings mutual.
We need to get out and bust some birds together, Kurt, for sure.
Man, me and the kid are talking about making some trips to the Midwest and down south. So
awesome.
You know, we're small time with shotguns up here, but we'd like to branch out. You know, cost and time is prohibitive, but
sure,
you know, if we can pull it off, we'll do it.
Gotcha.
Awesome, Scott. What about you, sir? You got any closing thoughts?
You know, it's very humbling, the response that we get from all of our supporters. You know, Kurt, you know, you just go above and beyond with the testing of the product and the you know, the reassuring that we're doing the right things. The Rhino family of customers. I mean, you know, you guys say about how, you know, Matt and I are in the trailer and we're working till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And there's 100 people that come up to us and say, hey man, do you need a drink? Do you need something to eat? Or they just show up with these big plates of food and, you know, just the, you know, the love and support that we get from the customers and from y'all. It's just, it's humbling. I'm at loss for words sometimes with the way we're taken care of on the road. And Matt and I, you know, we were just on the road for 2 weeks solid. We just got home Monday or Sunday, and but the whole time out there, you know, we stocked the rig up with all this food, and we come home with it all. And Matt gets, because you know we do that, but it's because we get out there and everybody is taking care of us. So thank you to everybody that supports the Rhino family.
You earned it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's a great testimony to the overall sporting clays community in itself. I mean, me and Jason say it time and time again. We've never met a better group of people. There's no strangers, just friends that you haven't met in this sport. So,
And Jason, Sean, before we go, I would like to, have the shooting community come out and support Roseanne in her battle. Go on that website. Make sure you guys are, bidding on some of these auction items. She needs our help, and we need to be there for her.
Yes,
that's well said, Scott. Thank you.
Yep, and that's again, that's part of that shooting community. Yep. Roseanne and Paul, they're outstanding people. I mean, what else can you say? And the poor gal is on her third bout now with cancer, so she needs a little bit of our help, and I think we should all lend a hand.
Absolutely.
Can somebody send me a link, and I'll post it on the community on my YouTube channel, and see what happens.
Absolutely.
I'll donate. I'll donate tonight.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Kurt.
Well, guys, I think that's just about a wrap, unless anybody has anything else.
Well, Matt's been hiding in the back. Matt, you got anything to say, or are you just going to keep being quiet all night?
Yeah, I have been pretty quiet, and usually I am when I'm in the road. I get stuffed in the back of the trailer, and then whenever I get here to the shop, I get stuck behind a machine, and it's hard to. Everybody's been saying, if I would just be reiterating what everybody has already said. The 4 years that we've taken this company and what we've done with it and how we've built it and how we come out with the new products, we come out with the new logo, and we're getting all this positive support from our customers. I mean, like Scott said a moment ago, where it is humbling, and we couldn't be any happier. And I'm sure that he would say the same thing. Is we look forward for things to come. Some new product. We're working on some new product. Just expanding the business and trying to keep the customers happy. Bring something new to the sport. And like I said, it is humbling, and I appreciate you guys. And that's all I got to say.
I think that's the most words I've heard Matt speak since I've known him.
Yeah, well,
at one time.
You stick me back in the trailer, and it's hard to get me to come.
Well, that's okay. I've heard the name Matt, and I've never heard him talk.
Hey, with Jody Johnson around, how do you expect anybody to get a word in edgewise? I'm just teasing you, Josie. I'm just teasing you, Jody.
It's a good thing we're on radio, because Jody does have a face for radio.
That's all right, Jody. They say the same thing about me, so it's all good.
Oh, well, hey, it's been a great ride, and through podcasts like this, it's going to continue to grow the sport, and we look forward to it, and we're glad to be a part of it, and we thank y'all very much.
Awesome. Well, listen, guys, one last thing. I know you got some new products. You're not ready to let the cat out of the bag yet, but when you are, get a hold of us, even if it's only for 5 minutes, and we'll get you on here, and we'll get that released.
We'll do it. Forward to it.
All right. Well, all you gentlemen have a great evening, and we look forward to talking to all of you soon.
All right, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
All right.
Shawna, I know it was a little bit of back and forth there. It's kind of difficult when you got 4 people on the phone with you.
Sure.
But I hope everybody got some good information there. The one thing, and unfortunately our listeners didn't get to hear Jody talk about it after we had hung up, is tightening of chokes.
Mm-hmm.
People need to make sure that their chokes are tight in their gun.
And get into the habit of checking in between stations, because I do. I just have that nervous fidget. When I shoot my station, when I go to the next station before it's my turn, I'm constantly just touching the chokes and making sure nothing's loose.
You ever watch Anthony when he comes out of the box? First thing he does is grab his chokes.
Yep.
First thing he does.
It's just a good, safe practice to get yourself in, because, there are chokes that I've put in my gun, and it seems like you never have to mess with them. But it's that one time that you don't pay attention.
Right.
And it starts loosening up, and you're not aware that it's loosening up, and it could cause a problem.
And the end of your barrel end up looking like a split banana.
Yep.
So, yeah, just keep your chokes tight, folks. If you don't have Rhino Chokes in your gun, man, give them a try.
Yeah.
I bet you anything, if you were to shoot and you went over to the Rhino trailer and you just wanted to try them, take them over the pattern board, shoot your chokes and shoot the Rhino Chokes, I bet you'd see the difference.
Yep.
You'd find the value in them for sure.
And also don't forget about their barrel porting, man. We can't say enough about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We need to release that picture that Jody sent us. Yeah. That's a cool picture.
Yes, it is.
It shows all the pressure at the time of the shot. We'll put that up.
And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, when I got my barrels ported at the Nationals last year, that's a great video to watch because it shows you, I mean, it absolutely shows you the difference in my gun shooting the same exact shell before and after the porting, and man, does it make a difference.
Yep, and that's up on our YouTube channel, so check that out. Speaking of YouTube, check out Kurt Vaughn Precision. He's got 28,000 followers for a reason.
Well, and I think it's just really cool because here's a guy that came from more of a rifle pistol background,
hunting
and hunting and all that stuff, and then, hey, I'm going to just try, shooting a shotgun a little bit, and now he's hooked.
Yeah. He's got some really cool videos out, too, and it shows a lot of the stuff with the Rhino Chokes, and I guarantee when he gets his barrels ported, he's going to show that, too.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But, man, we've got a big, huge lineup. But if you would, please keep in mind, we're always open for more questions for the coaches. Some of them are kind of duplicates that we're getting here and there, but that's okay. Send those questions in for all the coaches. We're getting ready to just about restart the whole entire order again. And those coaches are Don Grant, John Woolley, Tracy Wright is going to be joining us, Corey Cruz, Brad Kidd, Kevin DeMichael, Chad Roberts, and, of course, if we can ever find him, David Radulovich. So, but no, keep sending those questions in. And, Sean, what do we harp every week?
Take somebody new shooting, take them to a tournament, take them to a charity shoot. Just get somebody out, introduce them to the sport that we love, and show them how much fun this is.
Right.
Bottom line.
Exactly. And let them see the family that we have here.
That's right. And like I said, I keep saying it, and me and Jason say it all the time. This is a great community. This sport has a lot of great people in it, super nice people, super helpful people, and in almost anything I've ever participated in, I've just never seen the sense of community that we have in this sport. And I think we're all very lucky.
And speaking of which, I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast the Trident Cup, and people coming up to me, and they must be listening because they're waiting until I'm done shooting, and they're being very respectful. And, man, we love I had a couple of people tell me, man, I didn't know if I should come up or not. No. Don't ever think that. Sean and I are no different than you guys, okay? Guys and gals, we're no different. We're not any kind of stars by any means.
I'm a little bit larger than most people. I guess that might be a difference, but,
You're like Big Bird on Sesame Street or something.
Sasquatch.
Yes, there you go. But no, we're no different than anybody else, and we love talking to people.
Yep. If you see us, don't be afraid. Just come on up, strike up a conversation. We love hearing from you. We love hearing everybody's stories and where you're from and what you're doing and how things are going in your shooting career. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And to everybody that came up to me at the Trident Cup, it was an honor to meet every one of you. I really enjoyed our conversations, and look forward to meeting some new people at the next shoot. So
that's right.
But until next time, Mr. Alley.
We'll see you all right back here on the Dead Pair Podcast.